The pain came first, sharp, burning, relentless. Sergeant Kara Ven's eyes fluttered open to sterile white walls and the rhythmic beeping of medical equipment. Her torso felt like it had been set on fire and doused in ice simultaneously. She tried to sit up, but her body screamed in protest. "Easy, Sergeant." A medic's voice floated somewhere to her right. "You've been out for 3 days. 8 gunshot wounds. You shouldn't even be alive." Kara's memories crashed back in fragments. The marketplace on Varan 7, the screaming crowd, the small furred creature with luminous amber eyes cowering behind a vendor's stall, the assassins raising their weapons, and her body moving before her mind could catch up, throwing herself over the terrified cub as the world exploded in muzzle flashes. "The child," Kara croaked, her throat raw. The cub. "Is he safe?" the medic assured her, though his expression carried something else. Unease, maybe, or awe. "More than safe. Which is why you have visitors." Before Kara could ask what that meant, the door to her medical bay hissed open. What entered made her forget the pain entirely. They were magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. 7 feet tall, covered in midnight blue scales that seemed to absorb light, with crested heads and eyes that glowed like molten gold. They wore armor that hummed with energy fields and carried weapons that looked like they could vaporize a building. The Kithrak, apex predators from the Andromeda sector, a species whose empire spanned 300 worlds. Humanity had only made contact with them 6 months ago. The diplomatic relations were tense. The lead warrior's gaze locked onto Kara with an intensity that made her feel like prey. He moved with liquid grace, stopping at the foot of her bed. When he spoke, his voice was a deep rumble that resonated in her chest. "Sergeant Kara Ven of Earth." It wasn't a question. Kara forced herself to meet those burning eyes, channeling every ounce of military discipline she possessed. "That's me." The warrior placed his clawed fist over his chest in what she recognized as a Kithrak salute, one reserved for warriors of the highest honor. "I am Commander Thrax of the Royal Guard. 3 cycles ago, you placed your body between our crown prince and certain death. You absorbed 8 projectiles meant for Prince Rael. You should have died instantly, Crown Prince." The words hit Kara like a 9th bullet. That terrified cub hiding in the marketplace hadn't been just any child. He was Kithrak royalty. I didn't know, Kara stammered. "I just saw a kid in danger. Anyone would have—" "No." Thrax's interruption was absolute. "Not anyone." The marketplace held 47 beings when the assassins struck. 46 fled or hid. Only you. A member of a species we barely know, a warrior from a world we considered primitive, ran toward the danger. Threw yourself onto our prince without hesitation, without calculation. Another warrior stepped forward carrying something wrapped in shimmering cloth. "The prince has been inconsolable since the attack. He speaks of nothing but the soft-skinned warrior who smelled of courage. He demanded to see you the moment you woke." As if summoned by the words, a small figure pushed between the armored giants. Prince Rael couldn't have been more than 7 years old by human standards, though Kara knew Kithrak aged differently. His scales were a lighter blue than the adults, and his eyes, those same amber eyes she remembered, were wide and glistening. "You're awake." His voice was high and melodic, so at odds with the deep rumbles of his guardians. Before anyone could stop him, Rael scrambled onto Kara's bed, carefully avoiding her injuries. "You saved me. The bad people wanted to hurt me, but you stopped them. You got hurt instead." Kara's throat tightened. She reached out slowly, and the young prince didn't flinch when her human hand touched his scaled head. "Hey, little guy. I'm okay. You're safe. That's what matters. My father, the Emperor, he wants to meet you," Rael said, his words tumbling out in excitement. "He says you have the heart of a Kithrak warrior. He wants to give you medals and titles and make you part of our family and—" "Prince Rael," Thrax interrupted gently but firmly. "The sergeant needs rest." The commander turned back to Kara, and she saw something shift in his expression. Respect, certainly, but also something deeper. "Our species prides itself on strength, Sergeant. On being apex predators, the galaxy's greatest warriors. But we have forgotten something your kind apparently understands instinctively. True strength isn't in claws or scales or superior firepower." He gestured to Prince Rael, who had curled up carefully beside Kara, his small hand gripping hers. "True strength is in the choice to protect the vulnerable, even at the cost of one's own life. Especially when that vulnerable life belongs to a species not your own." That is a courage we Kithrak have not seen in millennia. Thrax's warriors all placed fists over their chests in unison. You have earned the Kithrak Empire's eternal gratitude, Sergeant Ven. By order of Emperor Kareth himself, you are now under our protection. You will want for nothing. If you have family, they will be honored. If you have enemies, they will be dust. Kara felt overwhelmed, tears pricking her eyes. I didn't do it for rewards or politics. I did it because he's a child, because it was the right thing to do. Exactly, Thrax said softly. That is why you terrify us, human. That is why you inspire us. You and your kind do the right thing not for glory, not for advantage, but simply because it is right. The galaxy is not accustomed to such beings. Prince Rael squeezed her hand. Will you come visit me when you're better? I want to show you my home. I want you to meet my father. I want you to be my friend. Kara looked at the small prince, then at the fearsome warriors who watched her with something approaching reverence. She thought about humanity's place in this vast galaxy, about the reputation her species was building one action at a time. I'd like that, Rael. I'd like that very much. As the royal guard filed out to give her rest, Thrax paused at the door. Sleep well, Sergeant. You have changed more than you know. The Kithrak Empire does not forget its debts, and we do not forget our heroes. Alone again except for the medical staff, Kara Ven stared at the ceiling and let out a long breath. She just wanted to save a kid. She hadn't meant to start an interstellar friendship or change how an entire empire viewed humanity. But then again, that was the human way. Jump first. Ask questions later. Protect the innocent at any cost. The galaxy, it seemed, was finally learning what that meant.